Dan Forrester, a former soldier, now works as a high school biology teacher. He's smart, calm, and has a loving wife and daughter. Dan dreams of working in a science lab but is disappointed when he doesn't get the job he wanted. During a Christmas party at his house, something unbelievable happens. Right in the middle of a live soccer game, a strange portal opens on the field. Soldiers walk out of it and say they're from the future, the year 2051. They warn everyone that a deadly war is coming. Aliens called white spikes have wiped out most of humanity in their time, and now they need help from people in the present.
We need you to fight beside us.
Panic spreads all over the world. The future is calling, and it's begging for help. Governments across the world begin drafting ordinary people, teachers, nurses, mechanics, into the army. They are forced to go to the future to fight a war they don't understand. People are scared. Protests break out. And then Dan gets drafted. He's told he will die in 7 years anyway, so he's eligible for the jump. The saddest part? He must leave his wife and young daughter behind, knowing he might never return. It's more emotional when he has to explain to his daughter, Murray, that he's leaving. He promises her, "I will come back." Dan and a group of inexperienced civilians are given basic training. In one of the scariest scenes, they are dropped into the future, but something goes wrong. Instead of landing safely, they fall from the sky into the middle of a destroyed city. Many die on impact. Dan survives and is quickly thrown into chaos. He meets a team of survivors. They're sent to rescue scientists and retrieve research from a lab before it's bombed. But the white spikes attack. These creatures are terrifying, fast, deadly, and smart. They make clicking sounds as they hunt, and they never stop coming. Dan and a few others barely escape with the research data. There are gunshots, explosions, and several close calls. The fear in everyone's eyes is real, and few barely escape. Dan is taken to a military base in the future and meets the colonel in charge, and it shocks him. It's his daughter, Murray, but 30 years older. She's a brilliant scientist now and leading the fight. Their reunion is emotional. Dan realizes how important his daughter has become and how the future has changed her. Murray shows him what they're trying to do. They're working on a toxin to kill the female white spikes. The male aliens are dangerous, but the females are even worse, bigger, meaner, and smarter. They've only found one, lures it into a trap, but it wasn't easy. Finally, they manage to capture the female, but the male aliens fight like demons to retrieve her. At the lab, Dan and Murray test the toxin. After several trials, it finally works. It's a small moment of hope in a hopeless war. But that hope doesn't last long. The female white spike breaks free. She calls for the others. Suddenly, the base is under attack. Explosions rock the facility. Aliens swarm in from everywhere. Dan and Murray fight their way out, but it's chaos. Soldiers are torn apart. Buildings collapse. The scenes are bloody and terrifying. They reach a rooftop to signal for extraction. But the aliens are close. Murray gives Dan the final version of the toxin and begs him to take it back to the past. Dan doesn't want to leave her. He cries, holding her hand. But Murray is injured and knows she won't survive. In a heartbreaking moment, she lets go and falls into the crowd of aliens and fire. Dan screams her name as he's pulled back to the present. Dan is back in 2022. Only a week has passed, but he's changed forever. He now knows what will happen in the future, and he's desperate to stop it before it begins. He works with scientists and his student, Martin, who loves volcanoes. They discover something shocking. The aliens didn't land in 2048. They were already here for thousands of years, buried under the ice in Russia. Dan teams up with his estranged father, James, a man he once hated. But now they need each other. With the help of Charlie and Dorian, two soldiers he met in the future, they travel to the ice-covered crash site. The team finds a crashed spaceship hidden deep under the glacier. Inside are the white spikes, frozen and sleeping. They realize the aliens were being transported as weapons by another species. The cargo was never meant to wake up. But it's too late. The team tries to inject the toxin, but the aliens wake up and attack. A brutal fight begins underground. Dorian sacrifices himself by setting off a bomb to kill most of the aliens. Only one female escapes, the same queen from the future. Dan and his father chase her to the surface in a final showdown. The snow turns red with blood as the alien wounds James. Dan grabs the last vial of the toxin and fights the alien hand-to-hand. After a fierce and exhausting battle, Dan kills the queen. Humanity is safe. With the threat gone, The future is changed. The war never happens. Murray never grows up in a ruined world. Dan returns to his family, holding them close. This time, he knows what matters most. If you enjoyed this recap of the Tomorrow War, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful movie stories, told in simple language that hits the heart. Drop a comment below and let us know the most emotional moment for you.